You wake up in the morning, reach for your glasses and wonder, why does everything look just a little blurrier than yesterday? People tell you it's just age, but that's not the truth. Poor eyesight after 50 isn't inevitable. It's biology, and biology can be reversed if you understand what's happening inside your eyes. You know the story they've told you all your life. Eyesight gets worse because you're getting older. As if birthdays were the reason you can't read the newspaper without holding it at arm's length. But the truth is, age is not the villain. Biology is. Your eyes don't fail just because you've hit 50, 60, or 70. They fail because of what's happening inside the cells that keep them alive. And if you understand that, you realize decline isn't inevitable. Think of your eyes like a camera. The lens is supposed to stay clear so light passes through without distortion. The retina is the film that captures the image. And the mitochondria, the power plants inside your eye cells, are the batteries that make sure everything runs. Now imagine if your camera lens fogged up, the film started to degrade, and the battery drained faster each day. That's what's happening inside your eyes. Not because of age, but because of damage that accumulates silently for years. One of the biggest culprits is oxidative stress. Every time you eat, breathe, or even walk in the sun, your body generates reactive oxygen species, tiny sparks of energy that, if not controlled, burn through proteins, fats, and DNA. Normally, your body has firefighters, antioxidants, to put out the sparks. But as the years pass, those firefighters get overwhelmed. In the eye, it's where oxygen use is sky high, oxidative stress hits especially hard. The proteins in your lens get damaged and clumped together. That's what makes the lens cloudy. You don't see sharp letters on a page. So you see blur. Then there's the mitochondria. Your eyes are the most energy-hungry organs in your body, second only to your brain. Those little batteries in your retina burn fuel like a race car engine. But with constant strain, the mitochondria start to sputter. They don't produce energy as efficiently. It's like trying to run a camera on a half-dead battery. The images are dimmer, the processing is slower, and your ability to see in low light suffers. That's why night driving becomes harder, why lights start to glare, why contrast fades. And perhaps the most silent thief of all, sugar. Every time sugar circulates in your bloodstream, it doesn't just give you a little boost of energy. Some of that sugar sticks to proteins in a process called glycation. Think of it like caramelizing onions, except this caramelization is happening in your lens and your retina. The proteins stiffen, lose their flexibility, and can't function the way they used to. Over time, this sugar damage fogs up the lens and weakens the retina's ability to transmit signals to the brain. To put all three together, oxidative stress, mitochondrial slowdown, and sugar induce glycation. And you've got the trifecta that makes seniors think their eyes are just old. But they're not old, they're injured. Injured slowly, silently, year after year, until one day the road signs aren't crisp, the bookprint isn't clear, and the world looks dimmer. Here's the good news: damage doesn't have to mean destiny. Just because the lens is clouding, the mitochondria are struggling, or sugar has left its mark, doesn't mean the process can't be slowed, stopped, or even reversed. The eye is remarkably resilient when given the right environment. The key is knowing what those triggers are and removing them before they can do more harm. You probably don't notice the little things that chip away at your eyesight each day. They don't hurt. They don't sting. They don't even feel like a problem in the moment. But over time, those tiny habits add up, and they rob your eyes of the clarity you once took for granted. It's what seems harmless, a cookie after dinner, scrolling your phone in bed, grabbing a quick snack from a box, turns out to be the slow drip that fogs your vision. Take sugar. It's not the sugar in fruit or a bowl of oats, but the refined kind that sneaks into everything from cookies to breakfast cereals to ketchup. Each time you eat it, some of that sugar binds to the proteins in your body in a process called glycation. Imagine pouring syrup on a glass window and then trying to look through it. So that's what sugar does inside your eye lens. It makes the proteins sticky and clumped, and that once clear lens starts to cloud. It doesn't happen after one cookie, but day after day, year after year, the effect becomes obvious. Cataracts, blurred vision, glare. It's not random bad luck. It's chemistry that's been brewing quietly for years. Then there's the phone in your hand right now. At night, when your eyes are begging for rest, the blue light from screens tells your brain that it's still daytime. That one message check, that last scroll through the headlines, is enough to throw off your melatonin production. And melatonin isn't just the hormone that makes you sleepy, it's also one of the most powerful antioxidants in your retina. When you block melatonin, you block your eye's natural nighttime repair. So what feels like an innocent habit, catching up on social media before bed, actually means your eyes miss out on their chance to heal. Over time, the repair backlog grows, oxidative stress builds, and your vision takes the hit. Processed foods add another layer to the problem. They may be convenient, but they rob your body of the nutrients your eyes depend on. A bag of chips or a microwave meal doesn't deliver lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin C, or omega-3s, the very compounds your retina needs to stay sharp. Instead, they flood your system with refined oils and preservatives that increase inflammation. It's like trying to fuel a race car with dirty gasoline. The engine still runs, but it sputters, breaks down faster, and eventually stalls. Your eyes are no different. They're built to run on clean, nutrient-rich foods, not chemicals that strip away protection. Even the environment we live in takes its toll. Think about fluorescent lights in offices or stores. They bathe your eyes in harsh, artificial light for hours. You walk out feeling drained. But it's not just fatigue, it's your retina struggling to adapt. Contrast that with natural sunlight, which nourishes your circadian rhythm and supports melatonin cycles. The problem isn't just the absence of nature, it's the constant exposure to artificial light that never gives your eyes a break. Put all of this together and you see why vision problems feel like they sneak up on people. They don't. They're built one cookie at a time, one late night scroll at a time, one processed snack at a time. The damage is cumulative, and because it's painless, most people don't realize what's happening until their eyesight has already dimmed. What feels small in the moment becomes monumental after years of repetition. The irony is that the very habits that seem harmless are the ones most under your control. No one is forcing you to eat that extra cookie, keep your phone on in bed, or rely on boxed food. Yet the culture we live in makes those choices feel normal, almost unavoidable. It's not that your eyes are destined to fail. It's that modern living creates an environment where failure is the default. But defaults can be changed once you recognize them for what they are. So when you close your eyes at night, you probably think you're just resting, shutting off from the world until morning. But inside, something remarkable is supposed to be happening. So your body has its own built-in repair crew that goes to work while you sleep, and your eyes are one of its top priorities. They've been exposed to sunlight, screens, and countless microscopic hits of damage all day long. Nighttime is when they're scheduled to get cleaned, repaired, and restored. Melatonin is the signal that kicks off this process. So most people only know it as the sleep hormone, but it's far more than that. In your retina, melatonin acts like a powerful antioxidant, sweeping away free radicals that would otherwise chew through delicate cells. Think of it like janitors entering a building after hours, brooms, mops, and buckets in hand, scrubbing down the mess left behind from the day. Without melatonin, those janitors never show up. The trash piles up, and by morning the place is dirtier than before. So that's exactly what happens to your eyes when melatonin production gets blocked. And what blocks melatonin? The glow of your phone at night, the TV left on in the bedroom. It's the bright LED bulb above your head. Blue light tells your brain it's still daytime, even when the clock says it's midnight. As a result, melatonin never rises to the levels your eyes need for their nightly deep clean. You wake up feeling tired, but worse, your eyes missed their window for repair. Over weeks and months, that lost repair time builds up into cumulative damage that looks a lot like aging. There's more. Your mitochondria, the tiny batteries inside each of your eye cells, also use the night to recharge and fix themselves. During the day, they're too busy pumping out energy to pause. At night, they can finally patch up the wear and tear. But this only works if you let them. If you eat a sugary snack before bed, your blood sugar spikes just as your mitochondria are supposed to rest. Instead of repairing, they get overloaded. It's like asking mechanics to fix an engine while the car is still racing down the highway. So the result is half-finished repairs and even more breakdown the next day. Antioxidants from food play a role too. Lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin C, vitamin E. These are the raw materials the eye cleaning crew needs. Without them, the workers show up but have no tools. Imagine a team of janitors arriving with empty buckets and no brooms. So they want to clean, but all they can do is stand around while the mess accumulates. That's what happens when your diet is dominated by processed foods instead of leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and healthy fats. The beauty of this system is that it was designed to keep your eyes healthy for a lifetime. Nature gave you all the tools. Your job is simply not to sabotage it. Give your body darkness at night so melatonin can rise. Skip the sugar bomb before bed so mitochondria can recover. Provide antioxidants so the cleanup crew has the supplies to do its job. If you do, so your eyes get the nightly tune up they're begging for, and the clarity you thought you'd lost forever starts to return. Most people never hear this. They think vision decline is automatic, so that nothing they do matters. But once you see how this hidden repair system works, it changes everything. The problem isn't that your eyes are incapable of fixing themselves. The problem is that modern living keeps slamming the door on the very process designed to protect them. So the moment you open that door again, the repair crew goes back to work, and your eyes begin to heal in ways you thought were impossible. Your eyes are not starving for glasses or stronger prescriptions. They're starving for fuel. Not fuel in the sense of calories, but the very compounds that make vision possible. The retina is one of the hungriest tissues in your body. It's burning through oxygen at a furious rate. That makes it highly vulnerable to damage, but nature built in a shield. Nutrients that absorb light, neutralize free radicals, and strengthen fragile cells. Without them, the shield thins and vision blurs. With them, it thickens and clarity returns. Two of the most powerful defenders are lutein and zeaxanthin. They sit right at the center of your vision in the macula, acting like natural sunglasses. When ultraviolet rays or blue light bombard your eyes, these carotenoids absorb the energy and prevent damage to your retina. Imagine your car windshield without wiper fluid. Dust smudges and rain streaks distort everything. Add the fluid, and suddenly the view clears. That's the role of lutein and zeaxanthin. They restore the fluid your eyes need to keep the lens and retina clean. Seniors who eat spinach, kale, and colorful peppers, foods rich in these pigments, often notice less glare and sharper contrast. Research confirms it. People with higher levels of lutein and zeaxanthin have lower rates of macular degeneration, the leading cause of blindness after 50. Then there are omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, which is literally built into the structure of your retina. Without DHA, the membranes of your eye cells lose flexibility, like trying to take photos with a cracked film. With DHA, signals fire quickly and smoothly, so images transmit to the brain without distortion. You get DHA from fatty fish like salmon or sardines. Since studies show that seniors who eat fish regularly have lower risk of dry eye, sharper focus, and better night vision. It isn't magic, it's mechanics. The retina is designed to run on omega-3s, and when it doesn't get them, it sputters. Vitamin C and vitamin E play a different but equally vital role. They're antioxidants, the firefighters that quench the sparks of oxidative stress. Every time light enters your eye, tiny sparks are generated. If those sparks run unchecked, they burn through lens proteins and retinal cells. Vitamin C, abundant in citrus and bell peppers, is water-soluble and sweeps through the fluid around your eye cells. Vitamin E, found in nuts and seeds, is fat-soluble and embeds itself right in the cell membranes, protecting them from within. Together, they form a dual defense system, inside and outside protection that keeps the sparks from turning into flames. Seniors with diets rich in these vitamins consistently show slower progression of cataracts and less age-related vision loss. Stories make the science real. A retired teacher once thought she was losing her independence because her world was fading into haze. Driving at night felt impossible, and she needed brighter lights just to read. Her doctor suggested surgery, but she decided to first change her diet, adding spinach to breakfast, salmon twice a week, and a handful of almonds each night. Within months, the glare while driving had lessened, and reading no longer felt like a chore. Was it a miracle? No, it was biology catching up to the nutrition her eyes had been deprived of for years. The key is not just adding one nutrient in isolation. Your eyes are not waiting for a single pill. They need a team effort, a symphony of compounds working together. Lutein and zeaxanthin filtering the light, omega-3s making the membranes flexible, vitamin C and E quenching oxidative sparks. One nutrient alone is like a single instrument playing in an empty hall. But when they all show up together, the music is powerful enough to protect and even restore vision. For decades, medicine has focused on treating the end result: glasses, drops, surgeries. But the research is clear: those who nourish their eyes with these nutrients experience slower decline, sharper focus, and in many cases, noticeable improvements. The body knows how to repair. It simply needs the raw materials. And the best part is, those materials are not exotic or expensive. They're in your grocery store, waiting in the produce aisle, swimming in the fish market, sitting in a bag of nuts. The question is whether you choose to put them on your plate and give your eyes the chance to do what they were designed to do: see clearly. Most people assume that if their eyesight is fading, the only solutions are stronger glasses or surgery. But what often gets overlooked is how much your daily habits dictate the future of your vision. Food is one piece of the puzzle, but the way you live, the hours you sleep, the light you expose yourself to, the sugar you sneak in, these choices determine whether your eyes spend the night healing or breaking down. The surprising truth is that even small changes in these habits can make a dramatic difference, sometimes in a matter of weeks. Sleep is the first lever. Your eyes are built to repair themselves at night, but that repair only happens during deep, consistent rest. When you shortchange sleep, you don't just feel tired, you rob your eyes of the very window they need to recover from the day's oxidative stress. Picture a construction crew scheduled to work overnight, patching cracks and restoring the structure. If you only give them half the shift, or worse, send them home early, the building starts crumbling. That's what happens when you stay up until midnight watching TV or scrolling your phone. The eyes never get their full shift of repair. Circadian rhythm is the guide for this process. So your body is wired to the natural cycle of light and dark. In the morning, sunlight tells your brain to wake up, ramp up energy, and get moving. In the evening, darkness signals melatonin to rise, which not only helps you sleep, but also activates your eye's antioxidant defense system. But when you flood your evenings with artificial blue light from phones, tablets, or overhead LEDs, you trick your brain into thinking it's still noon. Melatonin stays suppressed, and your eyes miss their nightly cleaning cycle. It's the equivalent of locking the janitors outside while the office fills with trash. Sugar plays a more subtle role, but just as destructive. That innocent late-night snack, a cookie, A bowl of ice cream, a piece of bread, causes blood sugar to rise at the very moment your eyes are supposed to be shutting down and repairing. Instead of quiet, the cells are flooded with glucose, which attaches to proteins and generates free radicals. The mitochondria, already tired from the day, are forced to keep running when they should be resting. It's like leaving the lights and machinery on in a factory overnight. By morning, the equipment is burned out. That is why people who snack late often complain of waking with dry, irritated eyes and more blur than usual. Now, here's where it becomes empowering. You don't need to overhaul your life to see a difference. One man in his 60s, struggling with glare while driving at night, decided he couldn't handle a full diet change. But he did agree to 2 small tweaks: no food after dinner, and dimming the brightness on his phone in the evenings. That was it. Within a few weeks, he noticed that the strain in his eyes at night had lessened. Road signs seemed clearer. His headlights weren't as blinding. Diets. His eye doctor told him his prescription hadn't changed. The difference was that his eyes were finally being allowed to recover instead of being battered around the clock. The lesson is simple. The body is wired for healing if you let it. You don't need perfection. You don't need to live like a monk. You need to respect the rhythms your eyes depend on. Sleep long enough for your repair crew to finish the job. Protect darkness at night so melatonin can rise. Reduce sugar, especially late in the evening, so your mitochondria can rest. These tweaks don't require money, surgery, or new gadgets. They require awareness and the decision to give your eyes the conditions they need. What surprises most people is how quickly the benefits show up. Unlike weight loss or muscle growth, which can take months, eye comfort and clarity often improve within weeks of changing habits. It's less dryness, less glare, sharper contrast. These are the signals your eyes send back when they finally get a chance to restore themselves. The more consistent you are, the more protection you build for the years ahead. When most people think of poor eyesight, they picture blurry words on a page or struggling to recognize a face across the room. But the impact runs far deeper than that. Vision is tied to freedom, to independence, to the ability to move through the world without fear. When eyesight fades, it isn't just about what you see, it's about what you can no longer do. Driving at night becomes nerve-wracking, with headlights scattering into halos. Stairs become dangerous, each step uncertain. Reading to grandchildren, once a joy, turns into strain. And slowly, without even realizing it, life shrinks. You avoid travel because it feels unsafe. You avoid social outings because you can't quite see people's expressions. You avoid hobbies because they take too much effort. The cost of poor vision is not just physical, it's emotional. It's a quiet erosion of independence. But it doesn't have to be this way. Protecting your eyesight is about more than clarity. It's about protecting your ability to live on your own terms. Imagine the difference between 2 futures as one, where you rely on others to drive you to the store, guide you across the street, or read your mail aloud, and another where you confidently drive at dusk, read books with ease, and walk safely without hesitation. These are not luxuries. They're the basics of living fully, and your eyesight is the gateway. The science makes it clear that your eyes are not doomed to fail simply because you've crossed a birthday milestone. They decline when repair is blocked, when nutrients are missing, when habits sabotage their resilience. But when you give them the right conditions: antioxidants to quench the sparks, omega-3s to keep the retina flexible, melatonin to power nighttime repair, sleep to restore balance, they respond. The fog lifts, the glare fades, the contrast sharpens. What was once thought of as irreversible aging is, in truth, a result of choices. And choices can change. One woman in her 70s had resigned herself to relying on her daughter for errands because driving after sunset was terrifying. On the advice of her doctor, she began adding leafy greens and fish to her meals, dimmed her screens after dinner, and committed to getting a full night of rest. Months later, she wasn't just seeing more clearly, she was driving again with confidence, attending evening gatherings, and reading bedtime stories to her grandchildren without stumbling over the words. Her life expanded again, not because of a new prescription, but because her eyes had been given what they needed to heal. This is what's at stake. When you protect your eyesight, you're not just preserving the ability to see shapes and colors, you're preserving the ability to participate in life. It's the difference between isolation and connection, between dependence and independence, between watching life pass by and being fully present in it. The message is not one of fear but of empowerment. You are not powerless, and you are not condemned to urging eyes. The habits you adopt, the foods you choose, the light you allow or block, these decisions feed directly into how well your eyes function for years to come. The truth is, eyesight after 50 is not about accepting decline. It's about reclaiming clarity. And that clarity allows you to live not just longer, but better, with the freedom to keep doing the things that bring meaning and joy to your days.